Hello there, I am talking to Volition RX. This isn't a formal update, it's more of a catch-up ahead of their annual general meeting, their AGM, and I'm joined by Cameron Reynolds, their CEO. Cameron, for those who didn't see the recent quarterly update, just bring us up to date about Volition's finances, the numbers.
Yes, thank you, Nick. Just before I do, one quick advert. Our AGM is on Thursday, so if you're a shareholder and you have not yet voted, please look for the details on this screen. Or if they're in a brokerage account, please contact your broker today or tomorrow to try to vote your shares. If they're in a brokerage account, you pretty much have to vote through your broker. But yes, on the financial position, we ended the last quarter with over $33 million in the account, which compared to the end of 2020 of just 19.4. So we're in a very strong financial position to really make sure our milestones, which are all progressing very, very well, can reach conclusion.
Well, thanks, Cameron. Now, in the quarterly update, we spoke about 3 Ps: people, patents, and publications. What's the update on those particular headings?
Yes, so absolutely. So people, you're about to hear from Tom Butera, so we'll get to him in a minute. Obviously, we had a new chief financial officer as we drive towards really becoming an international company of products. Also a new chief commercialization officer, and Gatan was promoted to chief operations, given how many different operations we have going on. So a really good spread of extra people around the world. We've also had a lot more movement on the research and development team, too numerous for this call, but our team is expanding well and really shifting our focus from just one of R&D to one of products. And the other Ps, of course, patents. At the moment, we have 66 granted patents. So I think we're very, very strong on the IP. It's a really key differentiator. And we have 93 patents pending in different jurisdictions. And given the NETosis work, there's a whole new wave of patents which we're applying for now to cover the NETosis in sepsis and COVID and other areas. And publications, as you've probably noticed, we've had several publications this year, some of which in extremely good journals. So as our platform is now very stable, very reliable, we're sending a lot of our kits out to different places. We're doing a lot of work, and so the publications are starting to really happen more and more.
As you've said, we have Tom Butera in the sidelines waiting to come on air from the United States. But before we go to him, just talk to me about the final key highlights.
Yes, so apart from the very exciting vet launch, which obviously Tom will go through, the NETosis has been moving forward very, very well. Our team could not be more excited with the fantastic potential. Again, exactly the same platform. It's exactly what we dreamed about. Something that can be, our platform can be used from, now it's developed in a different area that we never really explored. And it's obviously been a big thing to be doing during the pandemic. It looks like we have a lot of work going on, but we can help to increase diagnostic power. We can monitor disease progression, hopefully also potentially treatment response. And this is across a really broad range of different conditions that drive NETs, from sepsis, influenza, of course, COVID. It's huge, and we couldn't possibly be happier. So part of the work in developing the program to get to products from these exciting results, we're having a key opinion leader roundtable this week with some absolutely fantastic names in this space, world-renowned centers that they come from. That's next week, and they're going to be going through how we can turn this into a product. What's the best of these questions to answer first? How do we get regulatory approval, and where we are? So overall, the NET side has been an absolutely fantastic discovery for us. The trials have gone extremely well, and I think now we're really trying to work out what's the best way of launching products through a CE mark in Europe, and we're hopeful to get the outline of what the US study would be through a 510K later this year as well. Given this is primarily to talk about vet, I won't go through NuQ capture, NuQ discovery, and all the human cancers, of course, the lung and colorectal, but they've been progressing as well. So overall, the 4 pillars are just going extremely well, particularly the vet side and NETosis, because those are things we can do during the pandemic.
Okay, Cameron, thank you very much as always. We promised you Dr. Tom Butera. He's been waiting patiently in the United States. Tom, you are a DVM, a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, in other words, a veterinarian, so that's important. But people have contacted us wanting to know a bit more about you and why you came over to Volition.
Great meeting you, Nick. And yes, I am a DVM, as they say in the States. And a little bit about my background. I've got a bit of an academic background. I taught at Tufts University for several years. I also then practiced clinical medicine for close to 25 years. Horses, dogs, cats, with a large multi-doctor practice. Then I went into business development. And in business development, I was involved in a number, over 350 transactions of acquiring veterinary hospitals, and very active in the business case, things that we don't learn in veterinary school, but things that I had the opportunity to be part of. So most recently, I was part of a group where we acquired a number of our hospitals ourselves, and we sold that company to the Mars family back in April 2016, and I've been doing business development since then. With reference to the excitement about Volition, I've actually been following Volition for a number of years and following what they've been doing. So I'm new to this position, but I'm not new to Volition. The exciting aspects about Volition, which have really intrigued me and really got me quite excited about it, is the word cancer in the companion animal field is something that we have very few options for at the present time. And with the possibility of bringing a cancer screening test to companion animal medicine, that's something that is extremely exciting to me. And consequently was my main reason for coming to Volition, and hopefully being able to commercialize that product to the veterinary profession as a whole.
Okay, Tom, well, now you're here. You've been here for 2 months now, and we're into the second quarter with Volition. How are things going?
Well, Nick, we've been spending a tremendous amount of time educating our oncologists, both domestically as well as internationally, as well as speaking to a number of our GP doctors as well. So it's been a tremendous amount of education and a tremendous amount of awareness as part of the veterinary community. I've also had the opportunity to start to obviously get to know the Volition team. They're a wonderful group of people, highly knowledgeable, highly talented, and tremendous to work with. Tremendous dedication to what we're doing here at Volition. And I'm delighted to be able to come here and be part of the leadership of that team. I've also had the opportunity to work with Dr. Heather Robles, who is the professor of oncology at Texas A&M and is also our chief medical officer at Volition Veterinary. Heather has tremendous talent, highly regarded in the field. She's currently president of the Veterinary Cancer Society as well. It's just a complete honor to have someone of her research background and her talent to be leading the CMO development for Volition Veterinary.
And I think as part of your new role, you've been pretty busy on the conference scene recently.
We were just at the VMX conference, which is in Orlando, which actually is the largest domestic conference in the United States for veterinarians. Typically, it has close to 20,000 people attending it. The vast majority of that are veterinarians, and that can be internal medicine specialists, oncologists, as well as GPs. We had a tremendous interest in our product. We had the opportunity to, Dr. Sue Ettinger, who is the cancer vet, spoke to an audience of veterinarians. We had tremendous turnout, especially with the reduced numbers coming to that conference. It was very well received. And Sue spoke to the group about our new Q-Vet cancer screening test. And again, tremendous number of questions, very high enthusiasm. And again, as I mentioned earlier, cancer is a topic that veterinarians don't have ammunition for right now in terms of diagnosis and screening.
And Tom, I know from previous interviews with Cameron and other members of the Volition team that the new Q-Vet cancer screening test has now been beta launched in Texas in the USA.
It's actually going very well. It's been, to your point, Nick, it has been a beta launch. And consequently, we really were using this as one, obviously, to commercialize it a bit and to receive from revenue coming back to Volition Veterinary from it. But in a greater sense and in a much larger scale, it's allowed us to prepare for the future commercial launch of the product and subsequent products to come. So we've gotten tremendous feedback from our colleagues in terms of the questions that they typically are going to ask in order to use the test, how to position it in terms of their own practices. It really is a wellness test meant to be used on asymptomatic, healthy dogs. And they've really asked a lot of questions about where they should use it, how they should use it, and when they should use it. It was only beta tested in Texas because that's where Dr. Robles is located. But it's been great educational information for us in terms of positioning the product for a future launch.
So as always with Volition, it's been a busy time. You've joined at a very interesting time as well. Just give me a final comment on what's coming on the horizon as you look ahead with the company.
We are extremely busy, and it's all good, Nick. And we have so many things coming up. We have the Western Veterinary Conference, which is in Las Vegas, which is the second largest conference that attends in North America. And also we have the Veterinary Cancer Society, which I mentioned earlier. Dr. Robles is the president of the Veterinary Cancer Society. We're presenting there. We have additional papers coming out. We have additional products coming out. It's also in conjunction with the awareness and education we've done. It's opened up significant interest on the part of the big players in the industry. We have gotten outreach from just about all of them in terms of their interest in potentially formulating a deal with us about our Nu.Q Vet Cancer Screening Test. We are in active negotiations with them currently, and we anticipate probably having a deal in the not too distant future. So it's an extremely exciting time. We have a lot of things coming down the road, and we feel 2021 is just going to be a fabulous year for Volition Veterinary.
Well, thanks very much, Tom. Fascinating to talk to you, and you've joined at such an exciting time with Volition, and I look forward to meeting you in the flesh. And a final reminder from me that the AGM is coming up. There is still time to vote. Have a look at the screen here for details on how you can do that, or simply contact, as Cameron said, your broker. Bye for now.